Okay, guys, so thank you very much for taking the time and joining this vLite webinar. Let's get started. With us today, we have Tal Rahav, who's the R&D Director for VPG Force Sensors, as well as Mark McComb, who's the OEM Account Manager for the US territories. So you have some of the finest and brightest that we have here that they can answer questions and give some insights about the product. So expect them to jump in every now and then. Also, you can see that you have the Q&A and chat buttons. So please make sure you use the Q&A button for any questions you might have during this webinar. And towards the end, we'll have some time to answer these questions. And after the webinar, you'll get a summary of all the questions with their answers so you can watch them in your own free time. So you see here this writing here, overnight success years in the making. So for me, always come back to the debate of evolution versus revolution. And I'm sure even with some of your companies, when thinking about new products, there's always this kind of thought that should I take an existing product and maybe make some tweaks, some changes to make it a bit better, or come up with something totally new that hasn't been seen on the market yet? So I'm a bit biased, so I'm not going to say how I think the vLite falls between these two categories. But hopefully by the end of this webinar, you're going to be able to make up your own mind. And I'm going to share with you some of the insights and some of the innovations that the vLite product line did bring to the market. So obviously we have the matter of weight. We're talking about up to 50% lighter load cells than a traditional load cell, which obviously brings in a lot of value, which we're going to cover in a bit, whether it's in the shipping or in the end application that this load cell can be integrated into. Even the production process is a bit different because we're working with a through-going bore beam, so we have much less weight in the production process, so it also impacts the sustainability and the eco-friendliness of the vLite series. And last but not least, it is exchangeable with an equivalent load cell, which means none of our customers need to do any changes or any re-engineering of existing application. It's almost a matter of plug and play to replace an existing equivalent load cell with a vLite version. Now, as I mentioned, we always ask ourselves why we're going into this, why we decided to make the vLite product family, and there are several reasons for that, so we're going to cover some of them right now. So, as you can imagine, weight is always an impact, especially when we're talking about application of products or industries which are weight sensitive. So that's one of the key factors of having the vLite created. Shipping costs, especially in high volumes of heavy load cells, can also be a very costly impact. And as we just witnessed a couple of years ago with the COVID and the supply chain issues, that's also a matter where a reduced weight can be a very positive factor in shipping load cells. Sustainability, even though some companies don't put it in the forefront, we know that it's always something that is being talked about. The going green is a buzzword, so that's also a consideration both for us and our customers and other manufacturers as well. And certainly, not least, is the being competitive, being innovative, always think about what I can do differently, what I can bring into the market. And this is where the vLite product comes into play.
Innovation doesn't happen overnight. You need to put in the time. Let's say you want to reinvent load cells. You clear your schedule and start on market research. There's no market category for your idea, so you make one. The market wants precision performance that's more accessible, sustainable, and cost-efficient. You spend years exploring innovative materials until you find the perfect one, which presents challenges you never expected. So you spend a few years on these until, eureka, a whole new concept. Time to seize the moment, just as soon as the market matures technologically. Now it's really the moment. VPG Force Sensors presents an overnight success. VPG's patented vLite technology has reinvented load cells. Using an innovative hollow beam made of aviation-grade aluminum, vLite load cells provide best-in-class performance at half the weight of standard cells. With off-the-shelf models exchangeable for equivalent solid cells, vLite is ideal for a broad range of applications. Whether as a single-point load cell or in any custom configuration, Meeting and surpassing all industry standards and benchmarks, vLite has been rigorously tested across loading arrangements, materials, and geometries. And since it uses less material, it has a lower carbon footprint and simplifies shipping and storage. Because that's what nonstop innovation gets you. See the vLite difference. Visit us today.
Okay, so now we're gonna cover some of the value points that the vLite has to offer. First and foremost will be the lightweight. As mentioned, up to 50% lighter than traditional load cells. So obviously it has a direct impact on reducing the shipping and storing costs of the vLite products. It's also an ideal solution for low-weight applications, portable applications, basically any application that weight can be a very serious factor in. And also allows our partners and customers to create a lighter product with existing designs, or even just give new ideas, new possibilities to create a product where now you can use a load cell, which almost halves the weight, which obviously has very positive implications on the end product. If we mention the sustainability and going green, it's also something to take into consideration when we're talking about less material, reduced weights equals greater savings. So it's much more sustainable, both in terms of disposal and recycling of the product. Even if one of our customers or the company itself is not really highlighting the eco-friendliness, just by joining forces with VPG sensors and using a vLite load cell, they can also be part of the sustainability and our efforts to basically go green, reduce waste, and reduce the carbon footprint. And speaking about carbon footprint, here we're taking into account that this is affected throughout the product lifecycle, from the production process all the way to shipping until it arrives to our end customer. And something very important to note, because usually when you get a lot of pluses and a lot of values, you have to compromise on something. So here, no compromise is needed. You still get the VPG's Force Sensors renowned precision, reliability, and accuracy of the load cells. It's still, as we mentioned, easily exchangeable, so no heavy lifting from the customer side to actually implement a load cell, even if you have an existing application with an equivalent load cell, almost a plug-and-play solution. And it also comes with the comprehensive 2-year warranty, so it's basically a win-win situation here. So, which industries or products or application can benefit from a vLite product? So for this, I'm going to hand over the floor to Mark, who will probably be able to shed some more light from his experience and from his engagement with customers. Mark?
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. The vLite is an incredible advancement in load cells. I've been in the load cell industry since the early 80s. This is the first thing that we've seen that's really moved the needle as far as moving into high technology. So if we look at what industries we can benefit from in the vLite, we've got packaging. Within the packaging industry, there are all types of different automated processes where products are weighed as they're going down the assembly line. The vLite is set up as designed as a single point load cell. So it's designed to be used as a single load cell with a platter on top of it. This can weigh any type of product as it's being packaged. It can also be used at the end of the packaging to verify that, as you know, when you buy something, it always says that the content is verified by weight, not by volume. So that weight is verified. And in medical, which is something that's close to me, that's a segment that I manage. This is an incredibly useful thing within medical beds. Within the medical bed itself, the vLite is a very lightweight load cell and can be used for different types of applications within not only medical beds, but within stretchers and also within incubators. And then in addition to just the basic weighing of patients, it can be used for different types of fluid monitoring, as far as hysteroscopy machines or any type of saline monitoring that's used in procedures. So it really lends itself to that. And also, as we talked about packaging, let's talk a little bit about retail. So retail scales such as supermarket, self-checkout. If you've done the self-checkout, you'll notice sometimes you put something down and ask you to rescan it. What's happening is that self-checkout is actually weighing what you just scanned to make sure that what you scanned is actually what you're putting in your bag to make sure that you're paying for exactly what you purchased. So, and then also for warehouse type applications, you imagine what the vLite can be used within a platform scale, a small scale, aircraft industry, as well as baggage weighing at kiosks in airports. So very versatile. The single point load cell is probably the most versatile load cell that you can buy for any type of different application. Again, they can be used singularly, or they can be used in pairs, or even in four, put one in each corner, like a platform scale.
Great. Thank you very much, Mark. It was very insightful as usual. So the vLite product line currently consists of 4 model families, and we're gonna bring you a quick overview, and later on, Rahav will do a deeper dive into each model family. So you have the model 0022, model 0031, model 0042, and model 0038. Now, in terms of certifications, since again, it's something that is new to the market, that we work quite a lot before actually launching it, the vLite product line is US patented and NTAP certified. So every load cell model, which is between 10 to 50 kilograms, is NTAP certified with US patent and worldwide patent pending. So can you expect some more certification as well as OIM certifications coming in the very near future? And to give you some more information on that, as well as going deeper into each one of the models, let's have Rahav join us.
Hello, everyone. For some reason, I'm not allowed in on my video, but hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, now we can hear you, and we're going to work on the video.
The video is not starting, but I will continue. So, hello, everyone. We're excited to have this webinar with this innovative product line. As mentioned before, and as the vLite name implies, it is a very lightweight load cell. I would say it's even more than 50% lighter. If you disregard the cable, then actually the sensor element itself is probably 60 to 70% lighter than a standard load cell. So this is the weight savings that you get and the material saving that we all get. When I say material saving, I mean sustainability, carbon footprint for the entire product cycle, less material, less machining, less waste, less shipping cost, less weight for the product, and eventually less landfill or less waste of material. So in total, we have a very lighter footprint, carbon footprint on the product. So if Mike, if you want to continue the slides, here I am. Thank you. So hello, everyone, again. I will go briefly over the major models of the product line. So if we start, the first one is the 0022. If you're wondering what the numbers at the end signify, that's the height in millimeters. So the 0022 is 22 millimeters high. And it's equivalent to our 1022, which is also 22 millimeters high. It is designed for platforms up to 35 by 35 centimeters. Currently, we have it in 10 to 30 kilograms. And the specification is as the 1022 or any equivalent competitor. We have this with through holes as seen here, but we also have a version with integral threads. So with the integral threads version, it's a direct replacement, one-to-one replacement with any equivalent. So if we move on to the next model, here the 42 is not exactly, it's the height is 40, but 42 is to signify the equivalent with the 1042. So it's actually 40 millimeters high, but the decision was to keep the 42, to keep the connection with the 1042 that it's equivalent to. And this geometry is slightly taller, and therefore it's good for bigger platforms up to 40 by 40 centimeters. Currently available up to 50 kilograms, slightly higher than the 0022. And this as well is available with through holes or with integral threads. So we move on to the next one, which is the 31. 31 is the height. Actually, it's 31.4. This is, other than the height, it's identical to the 0022. So the 0022 is 22 millimeters high. This one is 31.4. The same capacity range. Well, here we slightly higher because we have a thicker wall on this profile, so we can go higher in the capacity. And the platform size is 35 by 35. And the last one is the 0038. And as the name implies, it's 38 millimeters high. And here we go up to 300 kilograms. That's a big step upwards for larger platforms, 40 by 40. We may, in the near future, extend it to maybe 40 by 50, depending on requirements and additional testing. And on the 0038, we only have integral threads. So this is a true direct replacement with the 1242, which is our current standard for these capacities. All of them are patented, approved, certified, patented in the US with a pending for the rest of the world. So we'll move on from here, and I will be happy to take questions at the end of this session.
Great, Tom. Thank you very much for this insightful information. So if we just wrap up some of the things we covered about the vLite product family. So if you put it just like, in a nutshell, you get a load cell that can be up to 50% lighter, and as Rahav mentioned, even more than that, depending on the model itself, which in turn can reduce the shipping costs and even the end cost of the product itself. You still get to be part of the green movement with an eco-friendly product, both in terms of the production and the shipping and the carbon footprint and all the other values that we mentioned. And you can get all of these things while still remaining the reliability, the precision, and the 2-year warranty that VPG provides for the vLite lineup. So as we said previously, I mean, it just makes sense. It's a win-win situation. You can exchange it quite easily with an existing equivalent load cell. So you're basically losing nothing, but gaining a lot more Plus, it allows you, our customers, our manufacturer, whatever it might be, to come up with new ideas and new products that can leverage the benefits that you can get from vLite. And now we're going to go over some of the questions that we have. The first one is for you, Tal. So we have a question that, do we machine these elements from a standard extruded box bar, or do we machine this box bar as well?
So for this, for the vLite, we invested in custom profiles. This is an extrusion, so the wall thickness is net shape. We only machine the upper and lower surfaces where the mounting is taking place and where the strain gauges are bonded. The sides are not machined. The internal surfaces are not machined. So this we maximize the material saving and the energy expenditure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Tal. And Mark, I know that you also had some questions from already some of the customers you've reached out to.
I do. Tal, we received a few have come in. The first one is related to just the design in general, the single point. And I think it's worth noting how the single point works as far as we define a platter size and how the load cell is compensated for off-center load.
Yes, so let me reach up here to my shelf. What you see here is a standard bar stock machined unit. This is our model 1042. So if you look at the binocular shape in the middle, that's the actual sensing area, or what we call the strain engine. Now, if we move over to the vLite and we look in the same direction, it looks the same. It's hard to see with the with this camera, but it's the profile is maybe you want to put me on there. So here I'm looking right through it. So the strain engine basically on the vLite and on the standard load cell is the same. So what we get is we keep the same strain engine, the same amount of material on the strain engine itself, but the rest of the body of the sensor, we save the weight.
So Tal, when we have an application, be it in industrial application or medical, and we've got a platter that mounts on the end of just a single load cell, as that weight moves around within that platter, we compensate that load cell so that you don't get an off-center effect that happens in your signal output.
Yes, so each unit in production is actually loaded eccentrically on all corners, in most cases on all 8 positions. So 4 corners and 4 sides. And we mechanically compensate the geometry such that the output is the same or within the tolerance on all 9 points, including the center.
Okay, that's fantastic, especially if you're in a medical application where you have, for instance, a platter and you're doing a renal machine dialysis or any type of saline monitoring. If that fluid moves around within its bag on that platter, the load cell output will remain the same and capture that signal output. So that's great to know.
Correct, and it's insensitive to where you place it on the platter, on the side, in the center, close to the corner.
That's excellent. I see somebody's asking, how long was the validation process when we first developed and then moved through the engineering and then qualification process?
So the the actual validation for the current design is roughly 2 years, but this idea is more than 20 years in the making or in concept. We tried several approaches, different types of materials, and until we arrived at this configuration of material and geometry.
Right. And with the qualifications that we've already received, I think it's worth noting that we are essentially doubling the warranty to 2 years with the vLite, just to show our confidence in this design and reliability.
Correct. We do not see this as an inferior product or as a low-cost product, although maybe there will be some discussion later about costing, and it does lend itself to reduced costing, but we do not regard this as a reduced cost or a low-cost product. It's the same quality, the same performance. We only save a lot of material.
Okay. I see we're getting asked about the IP rating. I think that IP rating is 66, I believe.
The IP rating is the same as any other single point. We define it as 66. In some cases, you may define it as 67. Some manufacturers define the RTV potted units as 67, since it will actually hold 30 minutes in 1 meter of water. But we tend to distinguish the 66 from the 67, where the 67 is typically with a harder casing to prevent penetration of sharp objects. But if you're concerned mainly about not washdown, but waterproof or short submersion, then this can be defined as IP67 as well.
Terrific. Does the vLite differ in any way from the standard load cell of 150% of safe overload and 300% is the maximum overload?
No, it's the same, and this is mainly due to the fact that the strain engine is the same. So the strain engine on most load cells is the weakest point in the load cell, and we keep basically a very similar strain engine. So the rated capacity and the overload and ultimate overload are identical or very similar.
You were being asked by what are the top features of the vLite. Obviously, number one is the weight, which goes not only with the weight of the load cell, but within the weight of the product that we're installing it on for shipping. The accuracy remains the same as the unit that it's replacing from the standard, correct?
Yes. So the weight is the obvious. Of course, you can see through it. You can see through the advantage, but I would say eventually cost is also an advantage here. I would say in high volume applications, definitely there will be a cost advantage, and the the increased or reduced carbon footprint is another advantage. I must say that 20 years ago, when we started the development, this was not a topic we addressed, but the past 2 years, when we did the final development, this indeed was an issue. So we did try to go down as much as we could on the wall thickness to reduce the material as much as we could.
And as far as other configurations of the element itself, the load cell body, does the vLite lend itself to a custom application if somebody has tight quarters within the rails of a medical bed? Or
yes, we can adapt as long as we keep the extrusion size, the tube size. It's really no issue. We can do different lengths. We can do different mounting holes. We can have the cable come from the inside instead of from the outside wall. But we can also go with a custom extrusion for high quantity applications.
okay, terrific. So there's really, it sounds like it's all benefits to using the vLite.
Yeah, we regard this as another standard platform to do a standard unit and standard modifications and custom modifications. In fact, we already have some custom modifications on the basic design. It may be a shorter version of one of the models, or it may be a different mounting hole pattern on one of the models. So we already have this. And the integral threads were not designed originally, but also came as a custom design that we now offer to everyone.
And I know designers especially will be asking the question, is the lifespan the same for the vLite as it is for standard load cell?
Yes, so this goes back to the question of the overload protection. Basically, the strain engine remains the same. The factor of safety remains the same, and thus the lifespan remains the same.
Okay. And finally, the certifications that we have for this load cell currently?
Yeah, so we already have an NTEP approval for capacities 10 through 50. We have the OML approval in advanced state. Once we complete the OML approval, we will also extend the range of the NTEP approval all the way up to 300 kilograms, as will the OML be. We will extend all our intrinsic safety approvals as well to cover the vLite, so FM, CSA, UKCA, ATEX.
Okay. And legal for trade is what the industry refers to as NTEP, which is 5,000 divisions. So
So yes, the NTEP approval is 5,000 divisions, single application, like all the other single points. And for the OML, it will be C3, C4, with a Y of up to 15 or 20,000.
So to be able to read from 0 to its full scale in 5,000 increments, that's pretty impressive.
Yes, that's, this is something that is very unique to this industry, I think. It's a very mature technology. It's very many years on the market. None of the, I would say, high-tech approaches of lasers or other managed to give it a fight. Neither in accuracy and definitely not in price. And this technology is still alive and kicking, and with very high accuracy. If you're talking about legal for trade, you're talking about a load cell that is certified to the accuracy of 0.02%. This is incredible, I think.
Yeah,
This is what's required for legal for trade to approve a load cell.
you know, it's amazing. We do this all the time. We do it day in and day out, and we sometimes forget the precision that we build load cells to, and the accuracy that you can achieve, be it in weighing things again for legal for trade or for doing renal monitoring, fluid monitoring, packaging. It really lends itself to precision weighing in almost every industry.
Yeah, so if you think in high quantities, you can get such an accuracy in sub $20 price. This is, if we go 30 years back, it was $200.
And again, the great thing about this is that we're able to do this through our innovation, through your innovation, and not compromise on anything. So it's
yes,
really a win-win-win-win.
Not only we're not compromising, we are improving on the fact that we are minimizing the footprint, the carbon footprint.
That's what I have showing up in the Q&A. Mike, I'll turn it back over to you.
Sure. So thank you very much, guys. Always a pleasure to hear you both conversing, giving some more insights and valuable information. While we're talking, maybe just a couple more questions before we wrap up. So Tal, you're very popular. So the first one for you is, what grade of aluminum are we using and what finish on the vLite load cells?
Well, the vLite are, they have an anodic coating finish. So the aluminum is not, is protected against corrosion. And the circuit is protected with a triple redundant sealing, with the external layer being RTV.
Got it. Thank you. And the last one, maybe it relates to this, the coating and the finish. Can this be used in an automotive industry or off-road environment?
It probably can, but we will have to do some adaptation, maybe improve the protection, depending on the actual application. But anywhere that you are currently using a single point, you can use this as well.
That's an exciting question, Tal, and I would encourage anyone with a new application to certainly come forward, and we'd love to see the vLite essentially tuned to fit within your specific application and help you with your solution.
Perfect, guys. Thank you very much. So as we come to the close of this webinar, first of all, thank you very much for your questions. We always like to hear like what you want to know, about these models, what you would like to have with them. So again, all these questions, we'll sum them all up and then forward it to you after this webinar. So again, thank you very much for taking the time and joining us. Some of the models are already available on our online shop. So just go on Google and write VPG online shop, and you can see some of them, the specifications, and start ordering them. And we'll definitely be happy to speak more and hear from you soon. Thank you very much, guys, and hopefully we'll see you in the next webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks,
Everyone. Have a good day.